No, you know the old saying, you don't talk about politics at the dinner table.
Yes.
That seems especially true right now.
Yeah, we seem more polarized than ever, right? So how do you get through Thanksgiving without anyone starting a food fight?
Food fight! That's why we have psychologist Dr. Laura Saunders. She's joining us this morning to check in on some tips to hold the holiday. Just keep it about the food and the fun and the festivities. Good morning, Doc. How are you?
Hello, friends. Happy Thursday. And yes, we are in pretty divisive times, political times and other kinds of times, economic times. So we would really like if the Thanksgiving dinner and any of the holiday gatherings are pleasant opportunities to connect and not times to have a food fight.
Yeah, we do not want a food fight, Doc. So we should set boundaries. Is that kind of the first step where we should be thinking?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's important to know what you can tolerate, right? You know, it's okay to say to those individuals whom you know often start things, listen, we're just here to have a nice family gathering. You know, please keep any kind of political rhetoric to yourself, right? It's okay to set those limits and be really clear about what your boundaries are ahead of time.
You know, I was in therapy for many years, doctor, as you know, and the main reason why I was in there is because I thought I needed to teach everybody to do the thing the right way, which is typically my way. So if I hear somebody in the distance say something political, I want to go over there and say, blah, 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 blah. But should I just ignore that?
Well, in those situations, it's really about balancing self-respect and self-preservation with the relationship. If it's some stranger in the grocery store, probably you can let that go. There's no relationship there.
Right.
If it's someone that's meaningful to you, then you have to make a decision. Is this important to me? Is this where I need to step in and share my concerns about how their views affect me? Or do I let this go because the overall relationship's more important? Those are kind of game time decisions.
Doc, we should really stay away from black and white, all or nothing thinking, right? Can you explain that to us?
Yes. It's really avoiding extreme words. You always do this, or this politician never does anything the right way, or you make me, right? That's a blame statement. So it's really moving away from a lot of that black and white or all or nothing thinking, because the reality is no one's all bad and no one's all good. There's parts that we can accept, right? Our focus yesterday was gratitude. There's things that we should be grateful for, but to really move away from a lot of those extreme words like always and never.
I'm always,
oh, you just said it.
Oh, there we go. I just said it.
Always.
You know, Doc, I'm always on my tippy toes around certain people, and I don't want to feel that way at the holiday. Do you have any recommendations or advice you can give?
Right. Well, that is kind of planning ahead for the drama, right?
Yeah.
It's knowing, we all know those individuals, right? We all have the, what I say, the Uncle Matt in our family. We all have those situations where we know those individuals tend to be more divisive. And so, you know, I like to plan ahead. I like to talk to that person in advance, plan ahead for some of those difficult situations and decide how you're going to cope with it, right? Decide how you want, what strategy you want, because overall you want people to get along, you want to create positive memories, and you want to have a nice holiday dinner.
And really, if you can put politics aside, and the Thanksgiving and Christmas and Hanukkah and all these celebrations, they're so important to connect. And for so many years with COVID, I think people weren't getting together. So it's really important socially to be able to try to enjoy this time, right?
Right. Social connections are so important. They are what fuel us. So there's so many things to talk about. You know, talk about fond memories, talk about future plans and travel that you're looking forward to, or when you want to retire. There's so many great topics to talk about. We don't need to bring in the topics that are just going to divide people. So really, you know, the takeaway is know your limits, clearly communicate them at the outset, and decide when you want to prioritize self-respect over maintaining the relationship.
You know, my parents were divorced, miserably divorced. And they would have to get together for certain circumstances. So we would always rent venues with an L shape, and we'd put my mother at one end of the L and my father at the other end of the L. And I think that's up to the host. If you know two people do not get along, do not put them together at the table. Separate them.
Right. That's a perfect strategy, right? That's planning ahead for drama, knowing that these two individuals, we're going to have them here, but we just need them to have a little bit of physical space between them and everything will work better. It's leaving things up to chance, I don't think is necessarily a good idea, especially when you know the players involved.
Well,
really good advice.
Really good advice. We can't thank you enough. What time are you coming over?
You tell me and I'll be there.
Okay, I'm making brownies this year.
Beautiful.
Bye, Doc. Good to see you.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.